What is stopping us from doing it? Do you think they are smarter than us?
Ibrahim Traoré may be changing everything about Africa's war against terrorism with a single move. Not a new missile, not a new drone, not even a new military alliance. An idea, and now he has kicked it into action. If it succeeds, the effects could reach far beyond Burkina Faso, far beyond the Sahel, and perhaps even far beyond Africa itself. Because after decades of fighting insurgencies across deserts, forests, and remote border regions, Traore appears to be asking different questions, a question many people never think about. What if wars are not only won on battlefields? What if they are won in factories, in workshops, in laboratories, in engineering schools? And what if that missing piece has been slowing down Africa for decades?
How did our ancestors extract gold, identify the soils where gold could be found, extract it, and become truly wealthy? The richest man was in Africa, in West Africa, here, I believe in Mali. How did it happen that today, just a few decades ago, all our gold deposits are handed over to others so they can exploit them and do whatever they want?
Let us look at it from a chain that begins over 8,000 kilometers away in the Middle East and ends in Burkina Faso, the Strait of Hormuz. For months, global attention has focused on tensions surrounding the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway only about 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, yet one of the most important energy routes on Earth. Roughly 1/5 of the world's seaborne oil passes through this corridor. Millions of barrels every day. Military deployment has increased, warships moving into positions, missiles dominated headlines, and every new development seems to raise a larger question: what happens next? Some reports even claim that advanced military equipment had been lost during the fighting. The kind of headlines that instantly grab global attention. But while the world was watching the explosions, almost nobody was asking a far more important question. Why should a conflict taking place roughly 8,000 kilometers away affect the daily lives of millions of Africans? Think about that for a second. Nigeria, for instance, remains one of Africa's largest oil producers, producing roughly 1.7 million barrels of oil every single day. That is more than 71 millions of gallons flowing from the ground every 24 hours. Then come the Dangote Refinery, a refinery capable of processing up to 650,000 barrels of crude oil daily. A project many believed would permanently change energy dynamics across West Africa. And looking at those numbers, everything sounds perfect. Oil producer, massive refinery, abundant resources, problem solved, right? Not exactly.
We are hungry.
Suddenly, energy is not only what sits on the ground anymore. It is also about who controls processing, who controls transportation, who controls finance, who controls insurance, who controls supply chains. And suddenly, a barrel of crude oil becomes far more complicated than it appears. And gas prices have continued climbing up in the same Nigeria, from roughly 54 cents per liter to over $1.2 per liter. And that is more than 100% increase. Ask why, and the answer is often the same. Iran, America, Israel, Strait of Hormuz. A country producing 1.7 million barrels of oil every single day, explaining fuel prices using a war happening almost 9,000 kilometers away. Does that ring a bell? Now, let us travel to the Middle East. To Iran, the country of the center of this conflict, the country making global headlines, facing bombs, sanctions, and military pressure, right? Yet, a liter of gas can cost as little as 3 cents in Iran.
So here in Iran, gas is insanely cheap. This is the second cheapest country in the world for fuel. Only after Venezuela, of course, where I think it might be free. 1 liter of fuel is 3 cents. So a gallon is maybe like 11 cents. Just hard to even wrap your brain around.
3 cents per liter. Hold that thought. How is fuel becoming more expensive in the resource-rich country than in the country sitting at the center of the conflict? This is exactly where Traore's argument begins. And this is where things become interesting.
Since they did it, how did our ancestors extract gold, identify the soils where gold could be found, extract it, and become truly wealthy? The richest man was in Africa, in West Africa, here, I believe in Mali. How did it happen that today, just a few decades ago, all our gold deposits are handed over to others so they can exploit them and do whatever they want?
When Captain Ibrahim Traoré addressed young innovators in 2025, he kept returning to one question: why should a continent rich in resources remain dependent on others to transform those resources? And when you look at the numbers, the question becomes difficult to ignore. Africa holds roughly 30% of the world's known mineral deposits. More than 40% of global gold deposits are believed to be located on the continent. The Democratic Republic of Congo alone accounts for around 70% of the world's cobalt production. Guinea possesses some of the largest bauxite deposits on Earth. Niger holds significant uranium deposits. Nigeria pumps roughly 1.7 million barrels of oil every single day. This is more than 620 million barrels every year. Burkina Faso produces around 55 to 60 tons of gold annually. That is approximately 60,000 kilograms, 60 million grams every single year. Yet, despite these numbers, many finished products still arrive from elsewhere. And that is where Traore believes the problem begins. Now, let us leave the gold mines and visit the battlefield once more. Because wars are not won by speeches, wars are won by logistics. When a military convoy moves, fuel is consumed. When a patrol is deployed, ammunition is consumed. When an artillery battery are fired, more ammunition is consumed. When a drone takes off, batteries are consumed. Parts wear out, equipment breaks, replacement becomes necessary every single day. A modern infantry soldier may carry around 210 rounds of ammunition, 7 magazines, 30 rounds each. 100 soldiers, 21,000 rounds. 1,000 soldiers, 210,000 rounds. And that is before machine guns, before mortars, before artillery, before drones, before armored vehicles. Now, imagine fighting an insurgency not for 1 week, not 1 month, but for over a decade across the 5.4 million square kilometers of the greater Sahel region. The mathematics becomes staggering. Millions of rounds, thousands of spare parts, continuous resupply year after year. And this is where dependence enters the story. Each time a military requires ammunition, the raw materials come from one country, the processing happens in another country, the assembly happens somewhere else. The transportation company belongs to another. The shipping route passes through another. The financing comes from another. The insurance comes from another. And suddenly, a simple bullet has crossed half the planet before reaching the battlefield. Thousands of kilometers, multiple borders, multiple approvals, multiple delays. One disruption, everything slows. One sanction, everything slows. One political disagreement, everything slows. The insurgents do not wait. The battlefield does not wait. The enemy certainly does not wait, but supply chains often do. And this is exactly where Traore's move becomes interesting, because his answer is surprisingly simple. Shorten the distance, shorten the dependency, shorten their waiting.
Furthermore, they actively manufacture and produce their own ammunition and weapons. What are we doing? More than 80 years ago, they mastered the atom. They built the bomb, nuclear, and today nuclear energy. What are we doing? I want people to be able to come and tell me that they can manufacture gunpowder. For our ammunition, we will support them. I want people to be able to come and tell me that they can make trinitrotoluene, TNT, the basic explosive used in shells, even though there are more powerful explosives than that. We will support them. That's what we need.
If a country can manufacture more of what it consumes, the chains become shorter. If ammunition is produced domestically, transportation becomes shorter. If explosives are produced domestically, delivery becomes shorter. If spare parts are produced domestically, repairs become shorter. And in warfare, time is not money. Time is survival.